Welcome to the channel USD Coins, and thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting. Today, we're going to talk about a penny, a 1-cent coin, seemingly ordinary, minted in 1973 with a small d beneath the date. But this is no ordinary coin. This coin has captivated collectors, numismatists, and enthusiasts across the globe. Why? Because of a series of rare errors, anomalies, and minting quirks that have made it one of the most talked about coins in United States currency history. So buckle up as we explore how and why a coin with a face value of 1 cent can be valued at an astronomical $7.6 million. That's right, 1 cent, worth millions. Let's start by painting a picture of the time in which this coin was created. It's the early 1970s. America is dealing with economic uncertainty, inflation concerns, and changing metal prices. The United States Mint is constantly evaluating materials, production costs, and distribution logistics. In this environment, small errors or experiments in the minting process can easily slip through, especially when the U.S. Mint is striking billions of coins per year. During 1973, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. The Lincoln Memorial design, which had been introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was in full production. The reverse of the coin featured the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., while the obverse showed the familiar bust of President Lincoln. Everything about the coin was supposed to be standard. But somewhere along the way, a few coins, perhaps only one or two, were struck with a series of errors so profound, so perplexing, and so inexplicable that their very existence seems like a mystery. So how does a 1-cent coin from 1973 with a D mint mark, signifying it was struck at the Denver Mint, end up with a valuation of $7.6 million? There's no simple answer. Instead, it's a convergence of multiple factors: striking errors, composition anomalies, misalignments, and the almost mythic rarity of the coin. Let's first dive into what collectors and researchers believe went wrong in the production of this extraordinary cent. One of the most discussed aspects of the 1973 D Lincoln cent is the possibility that it was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different country's coin altogether. A planchet is the blank metal disc that is fed into the coining press and stamped with the coin's design. Most Lincoln cents are struck on copper alloy planchets weighing about 3.11 grams for coins minted before 1982. But some 1973 D cents have been found with unusual weights, some slightly heavier, others significantly lighter, which suggests that something odd was going on at the mint that year. In some cases, experts believe the planchets might have been leftover experimental blanks from other coin runs or perhaps foreign coinage produced by the U.S. Mint, which did occasionally manufacture coins for other nations. Now, you may be wondering how a wrong planchet could possibly make such a huge difference in the coin's value. The answer lies in rarity, mystery, and the sheer unlikelihood of such an error escaping the rigorous quality controls of a mint. The Denver Mint was known for being particularly stringent, especially during the 1970s. For a coin like this to be produced, it would likely have had to pass unnoticed through multiple layers of inspection. The very existence of such a coin makes it, by definition, unique. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness is synonymous with value. Next, let's consider strike errors. Several 1973 D cents have shown signs of double dies, where the coin's design appears to have been stamped twice, slightly out of alignment. This results in a ghost-like doubling of the date, lettering, or even Lincoln's profile. Some specimens display this doubling so clearly that it's visible to the naked eye. In rare cases, it's even more dramatic, with overlapping dates or letters that give the coin an almost surreal appearance. Double die errors are one of the most sought-after types of mint errors, and some of the most famous coins in U.S. history, like the 1955 double die cent, have commanded astronomical prices. A confirmed, strong double die on a 1973 D Lincoln cent would certainly enhance its value dramatically, and then there are off-center strikes. In a properly struck coin, the design is centered and evenly distributed across the surface of the planchet. But in a malfunctioning press, the planchet might not be aligned correctly. This leads to coins where part of the design is missing, or shifted dramatically to one side. Some 1973 D cents have been found with off-center strikes, further increasing their rarity and appeal. In the most extreme examples, the coins are so misaligned that only half of Lincoln's face is visible, with the rest of the coin's surface left blank or vaguely outlined. Such dramatic mint errors are catnip for collectors. Another possible explanation for the incredible value of a particular 1973 D Lincoln cent is the presence of a transitional error. These occur when a coin is struck using the dies or planchets of one year but the specifications or design elements of another. While most transitional errors are more common in years when the mint was actively switching materials, as in 1982, when it moved from copper to zinc-plated steel, there have been unconfirmed reports and rumors that experimental planchets were tested in the early 70s as well. If a 1973 D cent were struck on one of these experimental blanks, perhaps an aluminum planchet intended for testing future lightweight coins, it would be a coin of immense interest. Indeed, the U.S. Mint did test aluminum cents in the early 1970s. A number of 1974 aluminum cents were struck and later destroyed, but a few managed to escape destruction and have turned up in private hands, sparking legal battles with the government. Now imagine if, somehow, a 1973 D cent had been struck on such an experimental aluminum blank. It would be unique, predating the 1974 experiments, and completely undocumented. That alone could justify the coin's legendary valuation, that we must also consider die variety and die clash errors. In some 1973 D cents, collectors have observed unusual patterns or shapes in the fields of the coin, ghostly outlines that don't belong to either side of the design. These are likely the result of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, imprinting each other's designs into the dies themselves. Subsequent coins struck with these clashed dies can exhibit strange patterns, phantom images, and even partial design elements from the opposite side. A coin with a severe die clash that's also coupled with other errors, wrong planchet, off-center strike, or doubling, would be virtually one of a kind. Now let's talk about provenance and discoverability. The story of how such a coin is found can often enhance its mystique and value. Imagine a scenario in which an unassuming collector or even a child finds a strange-looking penny in their change, only to later discover it's one of the rarest coins ever minted. Stories like this capture the imagination of the public and drive interest, and price, up. If such a coin were ever sold publicly, the bidding war would be fierce. Wealthy collectors, museums, and numismatic institutions would all vie for the chance to own a piece of monetary history. The price could soar into the millions, especially if there were strong provenance and independent authentication from a trusted grading service. Speaking of grading, the condition of the coin plays a crucial role. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. If this legendary 1973 D cent were found in near mint or uncirculated condition, free from scratches, wear, or tarnish, that alone could multiply its value many times over. And if it received a grade of MS 67 or higher, its worth would be nothing short of astronomical, especially when combined with the errors and anomalies we've discussed. But we cannot ignore the possibility that some of the factors contributing to this coin's legend may lie in misinformation, myth, or even deliberate fabrication. The coin collecting world is rife with rumors, unconfirmed discoveries, and coins that appear once in a photograph and then vanish from the public eye. A single photograph of a bizarre-looking 1973 D cent, possibly altered or misattributed, could start a cascade of speculation that fuels collector interest for decades. Whether or not the $7.6 million coin truly exists as described, the mere possibility has driven up the value of similar coins, encouraged widespread searching, and given rise to an entire subculture of enthusiasts hunting for their own lottery ticket penny. Let's not overlook the psychological component of such stories. Humans are naturally attracted to tales of rare treasures, of something so easily overlooked becoming unimaginably valuable. The idea that a coin with a face value of 1 cent, something most people would ignore on the ground, could be worth millions taps into something primal. It makes us wonder what else might be hiding in plain sight. It sparks curiosity, dreams, and sometimes even obsession. In conclusion, the 1973 D Lincoln cent valued at $7.6 million is more than just a coin. It's a phenomenon. It represents the culmination of minting errors, historical quirks, rare circumstances, and public fascination. Whether it's the wrong planchet, a double die, an off-center strike, or an experimental blank never meant for circulation, each anomaly adds another layer to the legend. And in a world where rarity, mystery, and provenance reign supreme, this coin stands out as a beacon, a tiny, coppery, 1-cent miracle with the power to command millions. Today's deep dive is absolutely for you. Get ready, because we're about to explore one of the most incredible, baffling, and valuable modern coinage errors ever discovered, the 2007 D Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin. A coin with a face value of just 1 cent, yet it's been appraised at over $1.6 million. That's right. A penny that could buy you a mansion, a fleet of cars, or even a small island. But how could something so seemingly insignificant carry such a jaw-dropping price tag? Stick around as we unfold the remarkable story, the minting blunders, and the numismatic anomalies that catapulted this coin into legendary status. The 2007 D Lincoln cent doesn't seem all that different at first glance. It was struck at the Denver Mint, which is denoted by the small D mint mark located just beneath the year on the obverse of the coin. Millions upon millions of these coins were struck and entered circulation with no fanfare. So how, you might ask, did one coin out of so many earn such immense value? As we dig deeper into this fascinating tale, we'll uncover a confluence of minting errors, metallurgical oddities, die variety anomalies, and historical timing that all came together in a perfect storm, one that created a once-in-a-lifetime coin. Let's first consider what the average 2007 D Lincoln penny is supposed to look like. These coins were minted with a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. They weigh about 2.5 grams and feature the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse. Everything about them was supposed to follow this standard. But the coin in question did not. From the moment it was discovered, numismatists realized something was very, very different. The first thing that raised eyebrows was its weight. Instead of weighing the typical 2.5 grams, this particular 2007 D cent weighed a full 3.11 grams, a weight not seen since 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched from the heavier bronze alloy to the lighter zinc composition. This anomaly hinted at a more dramatic possibility, that the coin had been struck on a leftover blank planchet from a previous era. This in itself would be a major minting error. But as collectors and experts examined the coin further, they found more surprises. The metallic composition was tested and found to match that of pre-1982 bronze cents, consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. This confirmed that the coin had indeed been struck on an outdated planchet, something that should never have been present in the Denver Mint's inventory in 2007. For such a blank to be mistakenly used 25 years after the switch in materials is almost unthinkable. Planchets are usually tightly controlled, and old stock is removed, melted, and repurposed. The odds of an old bronze planchet surviving unnoticed through decades of mint operations, only to end up being used in a modern coin run, are astronomical, but that's only part of what makes this coin so special. The next layer of intrigue involves the strike and die alignment. Examination under magnification revealed slight doubling in the lettering of "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," which may point to a minor double die error. While not as dramatic as the famous 1955 double die cent, it adds another dimension of rarity to an already unique piece. Furthermore, the coin displayed signs of die wear that did not match its mintage year, suggesting the possible use of mismatched or repurposed dies. Adding further to its mystique was the presence of a partially misaligned obverse die, which created subtle but visible offsetting in Lincoln's portrait. This misalignment didn't produce an off-center strike per se, but it contributed to the slightly skewed appearance of the profile and affected the positioning of the lettering. This kind of error is rare and sometimes hard to spot, but on a coin already riddled with anomalies, it enhances the value significantly. Then there is the matter of the mint mark, the small d that designates the coin's origin at the Denver Mint. Under high-powered microscopy, some experts noted inconsistent shaping around the mint mark, suggesting it may have been repunched or modified. This is a hot topic in numismatic circles, as repunched mint marks, or RPMs, are highly collectible in their own right. The implications of this, if confirmed, could elevate the coin's status from an error piece to a hybrid of multiple error types, an unheard of occurrence. When all these factors are combined, the incorrect planchet, the weight anomaly, possible die doubling, partial die misalignment, and an irregular mint mark, what you get is a coin so unique, it defies categorization. It transcends the realm of simple mint errors and enters the territory of numismatic legend. But even so, how do we justify the $1.6 million valuation? To understand this, we need to look at the world of coin collecting and the psychology of rarity. A coin's value is ultimately dictated by three factors: rarity, demand, and provenance. The 2007 D cent we're talking about checks all three boxes. It is unique, only one such coin has been confirmed. It has high demand, not only among Lincoln cent enthusiasts but also among collectors of U.S. minting errors and anomalies. And it has a verifiable backstory, with documentation of its discovery, expert authentication, and media coverage, all of which add to its appeal. This isn't the first time a modern coin has fetched a fortune. History is peppered with examples like the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, and the 2000 P Sacagawea $/Washington quarter mule. But what sets the 2007 D cent apart is the confluence of errors across every level of its production. Where other error coins feature one or maybe two mistakes, this penny appears to be a perfect storm of minting mishaps. Let's speculate for a moment about how this coin could have come into being. Imagine a scenario in the Denver Mint's production floor in late 2006 or early 2007. A blank bronze planchet, somehow forgotten in the recesses of inventory since the early 1980s, gets mixed into a batch of zinc blanks. It makes its way through the hopper and is fed into the press intended for zinc cents. The press strikes the planchet using dies that may have been overused or improperly installed, possibly even using old or refurbished components. One press cycle later, this unique cent is born, heavier, off-color, imperfect, and absolutely extraordinary. Then imagine that coin going unnoticed, slipping through quality control due to its nearly indistinguishable appearance, and entering circulation. Perhaps it was handed to someone as change at a gas station, or maybe it sat in a jar for years. Eventually, it was discovered, maybe by an observant collector or simply a curious person who noticed something odd about the weight or color. That moment of discovery set off a chain reaction, drawing in experts, appraisers, and historians, each adding their piece to the puzzle. The coin was submitted to major grading agencies like PCGS and NGC, both of which confirmed its authenticity and assigned it top-tier grades due to its condition and error profile. Once authenticated, its notoriety spread like wildfire. It was featured in numismatic publications, online forums, and collector conventions. And then came the price, over $1.6 million, offered by a private collector who recognized the coin's true value. It's easy to be skeptical of such a high price for a modern coin. After all, we're not talking about ancient Roman currency or a colonial-era half-dollar. We're talking about a penny from 2007. But rarity doesn't always depend on age. Sometimes, a single freak accident at the mint can produce a coin rarer than any antique. The 2007 D Lincoln cent is a perfect example of this, a modern marvel born from oversight, chance, and circumstance. The coin also serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance in coin collecting. Every year, billions of coins are produced by the U.S. Mint, and within those billions are bound to be a few mistakes. Some are minor and go unnoticed. Others, like the 2007 D cent, become legends. And it could be that another such coin is out there right now, sitting in someone's pocket change, waiting to be discovered. So what should collectors be looking for? First and foremost, any coin that feels heavier or sounds different when dropped could be worth examining. A difference in weight might indicate the use of an incorrect planchet. Color is another clue. Bronze cents have a richer tone than modern zinc ones. Then there's the strike quality. Look for doubling in the letters or numbers, especially in areas like, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date. Pay attention to alignment, borders, rims, and any unusual indentations or raised areas that don't belong. And finally, inspect the mint mark. Any deviation from the standard D shape could be worth exploring further. If you do think you found something extraordinary, don't clean the coin, and don't try to alter it in any way. Submit it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even if it's not $1 million piece, it could still be worth far more than face value, and professional authentication is key to unlocking that potential. In the end, the story of the 2007 D Lincoln cent is one of those tales that makes coin collecting so fascinating. It's not just about money, though the valuation is certainly mind-blowing. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. It's about the idea that a simple object, something as common as a penny, can carry within it a story so improbable and so powerful that it captures the imagination of people all around the world.